Hello kids, I am teacher Jerica and welcome to your English 5 virtual class. Today, you will learn how to use complex sentence to show problem and solution. Are you ready? Great, let's begin. Before we start, let us have a short review of our lesson about clauses. I will show some clauses and you will determine whether it has a complete thought and can stand alone or not. My mother smiled. Can this clause stand alone? Yes, this is an independent clause. Before the store was closed. Can this clause stand alone? No, because this is a dependent clause. After he went to the doctor. Can this clause stand alone? No, because, once again, this is a dependent clause. They went home. Can this clause stand alone? Yes, this is an example of an independent clause. Wow, it's good that you can remember our lesson in clauses. Now, notice that all clauses that cannot stand alone begin with conjunctions like before and after. Later, as we go through our lesson, we will be learning more of this. Now, look at the picture. What does the mother do to her baby? You're right. The mother feeds her baby. Why do you think she is feeding her baby? Yes, because he is hungry. Because he is hungry, the mother feeds her baby. Now, let's study the two sentences that we have just come up with. The mother feeds her baby because he is hungry. And because he is hungry, the mother feeds her baby. In this sentence, what is the independent clause or the clause that can stand on its own? This is the independent clause, and this is the dependent clause. They are joined together by the word because. Now, let's look at the second sentence that is arranged differently than the first one. Because he is hungry, the mother feeds her baby. In this second sentence, the dependent clause starting with word because comes first and the independent clause is placed after the dependent clause. Do you see something in this sentence that you cannot see in the first one? Very good. The second sentence has a comma after the dependent clause. Now, look at that. We have successfully made a single sentence out of the independent clause and the dependent clause. Do you know that we have just created a complex sentence? Yes, these are complex sentences. Based from the two sentences we have studied, we can say that a complex sentence is made up of an independent clause and at least one dependent clause. An independent clause has a complete idea and therefore can stand on its own. It is a sentence on its own. A dependent clause depends on independent clause to complete its idea. It is also called a subordinating clause because it begins with a subordinating conjunction, such as after, before, because, although, when, since, if, whenever, unless, while, so that, and even though. And these are just few of the many subordinating conjunctions. Now, let's study more examples. He went to see the doctor because he was sick. He went to see the doctor is the independent clause. It can stand on its own, while because he was sick is the dependent clause or the subordinating clause. The subordinating conjunction used is because. Now, let's analyze what is the problem and solution in the sentence. He was sick is the problem, and the solution is he went to the doctor. If this sentence is arranged differently, where the dependent clause or subordinating clause comes first, it will look like this. A comma is placed after the last word of the subordinating clause. Now, let's have another example. Students are not allowed to join the field trip unless they have a permission slip signed by their parents. Can you tell me what is the problem in this sentence? Amazing! Students are not allowed to join the field trip shows the problem. What type of clause is this? That is correct. This is an independent clause. Can you tell me what is the solution in this sentence? Awesome! Unless they have permission slips signed by their parents shows the solution. Now, what type of clause is this? Very good. This is a dependent clause. Can you rearrange the placement? Wow, that is perfect. Unless they have permission slips signed by their parents, students are not allowed to join the field trip. Wow, you are learning fast. I think you are ready to practice what you learned today. Now, fill in the blanks with the correct subordinating conjunction to complete the sentence. Select your answer from the word box. I will give you enough time to answer all 3 items. Now, let's check your work. Number 1, unless my parents give me money for school, I had to bring my lunchbox. Number 2, We sell our products online because our boutique is not yet allowed to open. Number 3, people living in the coastal area was evacuated before the super typhoon hit our province. Great job! I think you're ready for another activity. But first, remember this. A complex sentence is made up of an independent clause and at least one dependent clause. A dependent clause depends on independent clause to complete its idea, and it begins with a subordinating conjunction. If the dependent clause comes before the independent clause, a comma is placed after its last word. Now, are you ready for your next activity? Great! Here's what you're going to do. Make a complex sentence by matching the problem and solution. Write the letter of your answer on the space provided. I will give you 3 minutes to answer all 5 items. Okay, kids, time to check your work. Let's look at number 1. C is the correct answer. Because I failed my math exam, my parents are getting a math tutor for me. Now, let's go to number 2. The correct answer is letter A. He needs to buy a replacement unless he finds the lost book. Let's proceed to number 3. It's E. Bella needs to take iron supplement after the lab result revealed she is anemic. Now, let's go to number 4. It's B. Since mother is tired from work, I offered to cook dinner. Now, let's move on to the last number. D is the answer. He rides a bike to work so that he can avoid getting stuck in traffic. I am so proud of you. Congratulations! You have learned how to use complex sentence to show problem and solution. We have reached the end of our lesson. And once again, I am Teacher Jerica saying, learning English is fun. See you on our next English 5 virtual class. Goodbye, kids. Bye.